In the bustling city of Barcelona, a story unfolds that captures the attention of the world, intertwining the glamorous life of sports with the somber realities of justice and accountability. Dani Alves, a name synonymous with football and excellence, finds himself at the center of a narrative far removed from the roaring crowds and the shining trophies that have defined his career. On the night of December 30th, 2022, the vibrant atmosphere of a Barcelona nightclub became the setting of an event that would lead to widespread media coverage and public discourse on the issues of fame, power, and accountability. A woman accused Dani Alves of sexual assault, an allegation that sent ripples through the community and beyond. Alves, having returned from a disappointing World Cup campaign with Brazil, sought to put that behind him and look forward to a new year. Upon his arrival in Barcelona, his decision to go to the famous nightclub Sutton would mark the beginning of a challenging chapter in his life. A 23-year-old woman whose night of celebration took an unfortunate turn accuses Alves of forcing her into non-consensual sexual intercourse, an allegation that triggers the nightclub's sexual assault protocol. The incident, captured by security cameras, leads to immediate action, with the alleged victim taken to the hospital due to injuries to her left knee. Right after the incident, Esther Garcia, the lawyer representing the alleged victim, informed the Associated Press that her office had officially lodged a legal complaint. According to Spanish newspaper La Vanguardia, Garcia filed the complaint with the Catalan police in Barcelona. The video in question contained compromising images of the young woman, accompanied by information that revealed her identity and other personal details. As the news broke, Alves found himself in a storm of scrutiny and disbelief, from a celebrated athlete to a defendant in a case that tests the boundaries of fame, fortune, and justice. Alves vehemently denies the allegations, as he sent a video message to Spanish TV station Antena 3 saying, "I was in that place, Sutton. I was with more people enjoying it. Everyone who knows me knows that I like to dance, enjoying but without invading the space of others. I have never invaded someone's space without permission. How is I going to do it with a woman, or with whatever girl she is? No, for God's sake, I'm very sorry, but I don't know who this lady is." Alves went on to play his last match for current club Universidad Nacional, also known as Pumas, in Mexico, before returning to Barcelona. Alves, who recently turned 40 years old, was arrested in January of 2023 and placed in pre-trial jail. The gravity of the situation began to dawn on him and those following the case. The trial was set for February 5th to 7th of 2024. Section 21 of Barcelona's High Court confirmed Alves' persecution, underscoring the seriousness of the charges against him. The court concluded that the evidence, including the victims' and witnesses' statements, warranted a full trial for sexual assault. The legal proceedings unfolds with the weight of evidence and testimonies leaning heavily against Alves. The Spanish court, armed with statements from the victim and witnesses alongside expert collaboration, deems there is sufficient evidence to bring the case to trial. Alves, once a free man adored by millions, now faces the prospect of a 9-year prison sentence, a stark reminder of the fragility of reputation and the seriousness with which such allegations are treated. As the trial goes underway, the football world anxiously awaits the verdict. The case has become a focal point for discussions on various platforms, from social media to the nightly news. The court of public opinion is at full swing as people debate the realities of celebrity culture, justice, and the rights of individuals, all while waiting to see how the story would unfold in the courtroom. In recent years, the football world has been linked with numerous sexual assault cases, with the most recent stories of Manchester United's Mason Greenwood and former Manchester City left-back Mendy having their cases dropped. Alves' illustrious career, marked by triumphs with Barcelona, Paris Saint-Germain, and the Brazilian national team, is being overshadowed by the gravity of the accusations. Recent reports indicate a Barcelona court has rejected the request for Dani Alves' trial to be held held in private, as confirmed by a court spokesperson to ESPN. The prosecutors, the accuser, and Alves' defense had all requested a closed-door trial. However, the court decided that the trial will be conducted publicly, except for the alleged victim's statement, which was heard behind closed doors. Since his arrest, the former Barcelona and Paris Saint-Germain player has been held in custody without bail in a Barcelona jail due to concerns about him being a flight risk. Despite his repeated requests for release, the court has denied bail. It is important to note, while Alves has changed his account of the events multiple times, the victim's statement has remained consistent. Alves later admitted for the first time that he was intoxicated on the night of the alleged sexual assault, according to judicial sources. The Barcelona prosecutor's office is seeking a 9-year prison sentence for Alves, along with a €150,000 compensation payment to the alleged victim. It is important to note that Spain's sexual consent law covers a broad range of offenses, including online abuse, groping, and rape, each carrying different potential penalties. Rape, specifically, can result in a maximum sentence of 15 years. In this story, the lines between hero and defendant blur, leaving the community, fans, and the world to grapple with the complexities of justice and the power of allegations. As the trial went underway on February 5, 2024, Dani Alves refuted allegations of rape in the nightclub as he testified on the concluding day of his trial in Spain. The night in question progressed with Mr. Alves and his friend deciding to buy a bottle of champagne for 3 young women they had been conversing with. It was after this that Mr. Alves asked one of the women to accompany him to another area of the club, an area that was less crowded and more secluded. It was reported that he became aggressive, coercing the woman into engaging in sexual activity despite her repeated pleas to stop. A friend who was with the alleged victim on the night cried as she told the court how the woman had cried uncontrollably after leaving the toilet and said Mr. Alves had really hurt her. During the trial, a psychologist who had provided treatment to the woman following the alleged assault testified that there were no signs of fabrication or exaggeration in her account, and that she exhibited symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. The prosecution argued that Mr. Alves had taken advantage of his status and the environment to coerce the young woman into a situation she had not consented to. They painted the picture of a man who, emboldened by his celebrity status, believed he could act without consequence. The defense experts suggested that the woman's distress could have been influenced by the intense media scrutiny surrounding the case. A witness testified that Mr. Alves had consumed a significant amount of alcohol prior to entering the nightclub. His wife, Joanna Sands, also confirmed that he had appeared heavily intoxicated upon returning home to Barcelona that evening, stumbling into furniture before collapsing on the bed. The defense, however, argued that the encounter was consensual, that the accuser had not at any point expressed a desire to leave, and that Mr. Alves had no reason to force himself on anyone. The footballer also denied hitting the young woman, attempting to paint a picture of the evening that was vastly different from the one described by his accuser. Mr. Alves had initially denied knowing the alleged victim in a TV interview, before later acknowledging he had had sex with her, but saying it had been consensual. As mentioned earlier, in Spain, a claim of rape is investigated under the general accusation of sexual assault, and convictions can lead to prison sentences of 4 to 15 years. The public prosecutor in this case is seeking a 9-year jail term for Mr. Alves and for him to pay damages of €150,000, which is equivalent to £128,000 to the woman. As of the writing of the story, the court in Spain has found Dani Alves guilty and has been officially sentenced to 4.5 years in prison and a 5-year probation following the completion of his prison sentence. In a statement, the court said there was evidence other than the victim's testimony that proved she had been raped. It said Alves had abruptly grabbed the complainant and thrown her to the ground. He had then raped her while preventing her from moving as the complainant said no and wanted to leave, it added. Dani Alves had initially denied knowing his accuser, to claim later that they had consensual sex in the bathroom of Sutton Nightclub after alleging they were both enjoying themselves. The court, however, rejected the argument presented by Alves' legal team, advocating for a more lenient sentence on the grounds of his intoxication. But the court argued that his alcohol consumption had not affected his behavior. His lawyer had asked for his acquittal and said she would appeal against the verdict. In the end, the story of Mr. Alves and the young woman in the Barcelona nightclub has become a cautionary tale about consent, power dynamics, and the importance of respecting personal boundaries. It serves as a reminder that no matter one's status or fame, accountability and respect for others' autonomy must always be upheld. So, what are your thoughts about this case? Are you interested in more stories like this one? As always, please share your thoughts in the comment section, and thank you for watching.